We're specifically talking about Columbiners, the stans, even fans of not even Columbine, but Ted Bundy, Dylan Roof, Jodi Arias. Those people just came out of the woodwork as usual. So I'm sorry to tell you that actually I did interact with one of those stans. I stand corrected. I don't think there's anything wrong with idolizing a serial killer. I mean, in the end, who am I to judge? They just have a valid argument. Just kidding. They had terrible arguments. Most of the arguments were focused on my appearance.
Ready to glare, ready to glare. I'm ready to marry that woman. Fun fact for you, Ready to Glare used to be subscribed to me on Irate Bear. Quite smug about that indeed. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex and welcome back to the Irate Alex channel. And today, guys, it's another episode of Absolute Bonkers, the show that focuses on general buggery across the internet. And I'm a big fan of Ready to Glare. I have been for quite some time now. And I was watching one of her videos recently and she was talking about Ted Bundy stans. Now, I knew that such a group of people existed. I knew that it was a big deal last year when Netflix had their own adaptation based on his ex-wife's memoirs. I know this caused all kinds of controversy, and it was a hot topic for a period of time back in 2019. Accusations of the glorification of people like Ted Bundy. What I didn't know was that there are stans of Columbine and various other serial killers and whatnot. What I didn't know is that there are actually stans of Columbine and various other similar horrific events and the people that were involved in those events. What I also didn't know is that there is a group of people on Twitter that call themselves #TedNation. Social media, man, it has so much to answer for. It really does. The internet's dark and full of terrors. But I do love the internet. I do love it. And as you guys know, like, I don't really want to sit here and be grandstanding and tell these people what they already know. And trust me, they do know. These ladies that stan Ted Bundy, they are fully aware of what would happen if they were back in the 70s and 80s when Ted Bundy was on a rampage. They know full well what he would have done to them. They aren't bothered by that, apparently. But I get it. I get it. Daddy issues are far more prevalent than we thought. But no, although I may not understand it from my perspective, as you guys know, I enjoy playing a psychopathic character. I've done it twice. I've done it once on this channel and I've done it on my second channel, my horror channel. My first one was When Insanity Invades. Here's a short clip.
Hello, Alex. I missed you. Did you think I was dead? I'm not here. I'm not here. No, I am here. Just to mess with him on a daily basis. But I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. And I'm not easily rid of.
And one day, I just thought, actually, why not do a kind of kidnapped psychopath roleplay where I'm the one talking to the person who's been taken, and that's all you kind of see it from is the perspective of me. And I'll also play a short clip of that. I know what you're thinking. And I humbly apologize. You're probably thinking, why am I looking at this strange, rough-looking guy on a TV in this really dark, damp, dripping wet? Took way longer than what it should have. I do apologize. There was a queue at the barbers and they had a deal on for the elderly. Come on. Why are you not looking at me? Why are you not looking at me? Look at me when I am talking to you! Well, I realise that I'm fishing for a compliment here. I realise that I'm fishing for a compliment. It's what I do, but, you know, I just need that extra attentive. Pin someone down and shoved a car battery into their face with some jumper cables and rammed it into their mouth before. I'm being naive. I'm being naive again, aren't I? Don't agree with that. You're supposed to tell me, no, you're not being naive, Alex. You're actually a man of wisdom and knowledge and experience. You know, there's going to have to be a lot of training involved here. Lots of training. I'll link both of those in the description if you guys want to go check those out. And that first one, When Insanity Invades, because I don't have a special effects guy anymore, I'm actually going to be starting to teach myself After Effects so I can do things like that again, because I really miss being able to do those uber high production kind of creative things. By the way, it wouldn't surprise me to find out that there were some Ted Bundy stans in my own audience. The way that some of y'all reacted to my second psychopath roleplay, like, some of you got problems, man. Also, apparently, there's a slur to the Ted Bundy stans. Begins with E and ends in electric chair. Apparently, that's a slur to them. The more you know. And if you go on to Twitter and type hashtag TedNation into the little search bar, you'll find many accounts on there who are still Ted Bundy stans, are still talking about him on a regular basis, saying things like, I miss you, Ted, and all these kinds of stuff. And if you watch Ready to Glaire's video, I'll also link that down below, because at the end of the day, she inspired this video. I really like the topics that she covers, to be honest. She shares my disdain for maps and zoo files as well, so yeah. But Ready to Glaire did bring up a great point. The idea of being with, you know, a criminal, I suppose, it does offer some stability, not from the point of view of them being free, like them being in prison. Like, if you've had rocky relationships in the past, you would be pretty much in full control if you were in a relationship with somebody who was in the system. You know, Ready to Glaire pointed out that you don't have to spend any time with them. You just go and visit them when you want. You're in total control. But with Ted, I get it. The man was a very handsome man. He was a very good-looking guy. He was extremely charismatic. That man could charm the pants off of a bloody rhinoceros. You know what I mean? The man could sell snow to the Inuit. Like, don't forget, the man did have a brief foray into politics. He was charming and he was extremely intelligent. Such is the usual for psychopaths. You know, he wasn't a sociopath, he was a psychopath. Extremely intelligent. And it kind of makes sense with these young ladies or older ladies that have daddy issues. The man, even though he was a monster by all accounts and did some of the worst things imaginable, at least he was attentive to some of them. That doesn't mean that I'm glorifying him, nor am I defending him, nor am I defending that behavior. But I kind of get it in a kind of messed up way, I suppose. It does blow my mind that people are still doing it, especially when these young ladies know what he did. Although some of them do argue that he was innocent, he was not. He was not innocent, I can assure you of that. What really gets me, like, I get the fascination with people like this. I really do. I have binged many a true crime documentary. You know, like the second channel, I kind of wanted it to be a true crime channel, but there's like this mental block in my mind I'm having trouble getting over, and I really do want to make true crime videos over there. Like, I really do, guys, but I just... There's something in my head that tells me that I just wouldn't be good at it, so I've only made one. I'm a big fan of Stephanie Harlow, and I really enjoy her Dark History series. But Columbine? Really? a pair of edgy trench coat wearing neckbeards. Really? Come on. But Ready to Glare's video primarily focused on TikTok, and she's a great content creator. It's hardly anything for somebody of my size to shout out someone of her size, but her videos are they're fantastic, and I love how dry she is. You know, she's pretty much the polar opposite of me. You know, she's just like, okay, she's like the female version of Omegon, if anything. But I'd like us to look through some of these TED Nation Twitter accounts, because I think it's fascinating to look at these people. Let's have a look at TED Nation. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I love the pun. I do, but it's... And there is a retweet from TED Nation. Reasons to stop using the E-slur, electric chair. It's disrespectful. It's easy to avoid saying it. It hurts a lot of people. It's worse than any other slur. Really? If you're in TED Nation, you're allowed to say it because we're reclaiming it. If you're not, then stop. Thank you, Baze. Now, guys, I will absolutely acknowledge that there are going to be people who are trolls. Of course, there absolutely are going to be trolls. People just pretending to be TED Nation people. But some of these people are legit. Like, there's no way that it could be this amount of people just in love with the man. Another Ted Bundy stan here. Ted Bundy's designated foot washer. I love how they all have Curious Cat accounts as well. This is a particularly tasty tweet. I'd swallow Ted Bundy's sperm, not because it tastes good, but the thought of millions of unborn babies dying in me will give me psychopathic pleasure. I don't know if I should be turned on or horrified or both, to be honest with you. No lie, if Teddy was alive, I would not be social distancing. These are recent tweets, guys. In this quarantine, thinking about Teddy keeping me company by the fireplace and hearing the rain outside. Yes, as he slowly gouges your eyes out and proceeds to wear your skin. You're just too good to be true. I'd be happy to die at the hands of you. The way he smirks, I'm literally dying. Literally! People use that word far too much. Can someone be that pretty? I guess only he can be. The man had a unibrow, women, come on. Ted Bundy is cute, smart, charismatic, innocent, feminist. What? Person of color, POC, not a K-pop stan. What? I mean, you don't know if Ted Bundy would have liked K-pop. You have no idea. Really? A feminist? You're gonna call Ted Bundy a friggin' feminist? What? The man killed 30 women. What are you on about? He did horrific things to them. How can you call him a feminist? I miss him so much. Ted Bundy is the most beautiful man in the world, and the fact that there's not going to be anyone like him ever again breaks my heart over and over. Well, that's not necessarily true. There is a long list of serial killers that were very similar to Ted Bundy. In fact, I would even dare to argue that Jim Jones, you know, the leader of the People's Church cult, was he was a mass murderer. He ended up killing everybody in the end by forcing them all to drink poison. But he was a man who was massively charismatic, involved in politics just as Ted Bundy was. He was a good-looking guy and had many romantic partners, as Ted did. So, I mean, there's been a few. This is the thing. This is why psychopaths often go undetected, because not only are they incredibly intelligent, charismatic, but they imitate others in order to appear normal. There are some bizarre communities on the internet. There really are, and you know they're not as bad as Maps and Zoo Files. They're not. But it's still pretty grim. And the thing is they know, like a lot of them know, exactly what Ted would do to them if he was ever alone with them in a room somewhere. But I'm willing to bet they changed their tune the moment he switched into that mode. You talk a good game on Twitter, you know, until you've got old Ted here trying to scoop your eyeballs out with a fork. To me, the controversy last year was just overblown. I don't believe that the Netflix movie of his ex-wife's memoir is a glorification of him. I don't believe that. It's just that people are fascinated by these characters. That's why true crime is such a big thing. Is it not better for people to be interested and fascinated by people like this, to at least try to understand and look out for certain signs in people? I just see it as an educational tool. You know, I've read several books on serial killers. One of my absolute favorite was Richard Kalinsky, aka the Iceman's autobiography. And in fact, I was so kind of like, I mean, I wasn't a stan, but I was so fascinated by him that when I was in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil years ago, whilst I was serving, I found the 5-star hotel that he stayed at on Copacabana Beach and took a picture of it. Although, is he considered a serial killer? Because, I mean, he was a hitman, but, I mean, he did enjoy what he did, and he was extremely creative about it. So, I mean, he has to be in the same bracket, at least in my mind. And there will always be, in particular, ladies that enjoy people like this. A perfect example, the UK's most famous prisoner, Charles Bronson. You know, he's a guy who, he was extremely violent man. But he still had women writing him love letters all the time. He even got married in prison not that long ago. In fact, many, many years ago, he was visited by one of his stans. It was a lady who came to visit him. She walked into the visiting room. She didn't even say anything. She just walked up to him, pulled his pants down, and just had fun. And he just sat there and took it, and the guards had no idea what to do. My only piece of advice that I would give to any of these kind of niche communities where they're extolling the virtues of serial killers and whatnot is think about what you put out on the internet, because remember, when you put it out on the internet, it's there forever. So just consider that, please, before you post something like a selfie that you've put into Photoshop and you've got your arm around Ted or something like that. Come on, think about it. But that's it for today's video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this down below. I know for a fact some of you are wrong-uns. I know for a fact because of how some of you reacted to my psychopath roleplay. Sit down and behave yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to make your life very, very painful and unpleasant. Okay? Or, you know, you can just behave yourself. See, I can just turn that off, on and off. I can just switch it like that. I don't get it either. I find I'm very comfortable playing that character. I don't know why. Thank you very much for watching today's video, guys. I really do appreciate it. I know it was a bit different, but trying to expand the content a bit. Remember to check me out on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and of course the Broken Toy Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Alex of the Irate Alex channel. You've been the Broken Toys. This has been absolutely bonkers, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.